In today's video, I'm going to teach you how to deduct health insurance premiums without itemizing. The short answer is yes, but only in certain situations, and the biggest factor is whether you are self-employed, an employee, or retired. If you're self-employed, you may be able to claim what's called the self-employed health insurance deduction. This is important because it's considered an above-the-line deduction. In simple terms, that means you do not have to itemize deductions in order to claim it. Instead, it's generally reported on Schedule 1 of Form 1040, and it can reduce your adjusted gross income, also known as your AGI. Lowering your AGI can sometimes help with other tax calculations too, so this deduction can be especially valuable if you qualify. Now, if you're an employee, the answer is usually no. In most cases, health insurance premiums that you pay with after-tax dollars are not deductible unless you itemize your deductions on Schedule A and your total qualified medical expenses are high enough to exceed the IRS threshold for medical expense deductions. So if your goal is to deduct health insurance premiums without itemizing, employees generally won't be able to do that. There's also an important detail if your premiums come out of your paycheck through your employer's health plan on a pre-tax basis. In that case, you also cannot deduct those premiums. The reason is that you've already received the tax benefit up front since those amounts were taken out before taxes were calculated. In other words, the tax advantage has already been built in. If you're retired, the situation is a little different. If you pay your own health insurance premiums, including certain Medicare premiums, those costs may count as medical expenses. However, unless you qualify for the self-employed health insurance deduction, you generally need to itemize deductions in order to claim them. So for most retirees, these premiums are not typically deductible without itemizing. The main takeaway is this: if you're self-employed, you may be able to deduct qualifying health insurance premiums without itemizing. If you're an employee, the answer is generally no unless you itemize and meet the IRS requirements. And if your premiums are paid pre-tax, they are not deductible because they already receive favorable tax treatment. Tax rules can change and eligibility depends on your specific situation, so it's always a smart idea to review the latest IRS guidance or speak with a qualified tax professional before filing. That way you can make sure you're claiming the deduction correctly and not missing any important details.